You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Saturday, May the 9th, 2020. Starting with the Angels and the Orioles. The Orioles beat the Angels in this game by a score of 4-2. Brandon Bailey got the win. Julio Teheran got the loss. He's still winless on the year. And Michael Givens now has 12 saves with the Orioles. The Red Sox again beat the Yankees. Final score of this game was 6-2. The Red Sox came out early with a 3-run first inning and never relinquished the lead after that. Eduardo Rodriguez got the win. Jordan Montgomery got the loss. And Brandon Workman now has 13 saves on the year. The Tampa Bay Rays beat the Texas Rangers. Final score of this game was 3-2. And this game took 14 innings to complete. Each team even scored a run in the 11th. That tied the game at 2 and continued the extra innings, but the Rays were able to walk it off in the bottom of the 14th inning. Nick Anderson got the win, and Cody Allen got the loss. The Toronto Blue Jays lost to the Oakland Athletics. Final score of this game was 6-4. J.B. Wendelken got the win, Elvis Luciano got the loss, and Liam Hendricks now with 15 saves on the year. The Kansas City Royals played the Minnesota Twins in this AL Central baseball game, but the Twins won by a final score of 4-2. The Royals had the lead up until the 7th inning when the Twins struck for 4 runs, took the lead, and won the ball game. Tyler Duffy got the win, Jake Newberry got the loss, and Taylor Rogers is now at 10 saves on the year. The Cleveland Indians beat the Detroit Tigers in this other AL Central game. The final score of this one, 5-2 in favor of the Indians. Carlos Carrasco got the win, Buck Farmer got the loss, and Brad Hand with his Major League Baseball leading 18th save in this one. The Seattle Mariners and the Houston Astros played each other in this AL West matchup. Final score of this game was 6-3. The Astros came out early with 3 runs in the first 4 innings. The Mariners tied the game in the 5th, but then the Astros had a response, scoring their own 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Nobody scored after that, and the Astros ended up winning. Felipe Valdez got the win. Yusei Kikuchi got the loss, and Roberto Osuna now has 13 saves on the season. The Miami Marlins played the Atlanta Braves. The Braves on a hot streak now, though. They won this game against the Marlins. Final score 7-2. The Braves came out early with a 5-run bottom of the first inning, and they didn't give up the lead after that. Mike Soroka got the win, and Jordan Yamamoto got the loss. The Washington Nationals played the Chicago Cubs. Final score of this game was 5-3. The Nats ended up winning. Patrick Corbin got the win, Tyler Chatwood got the loss, and Sean Doolittle now has 14 saves on the season. The New York Mets played the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Mets won by a final score of 8-3. The Mets scored early. They scored 4 runs in the top of the first inning, which helped them to win this one. Michael Wacha got the win against his former team, and Daniel Ponce de Leon got the loss. He's now 2-4. The Philadelphia Phillies played the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Phillies won this game. Final score 4-1. Vince Velasquez got the win, Trevor Williams got the loss, and Hector Neris now has 10 saves on the season. The Arizona Diamondbacks and Milwaukee Brewers played each other, and the Brewers lost by 1 run, though they scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning in an effort to make a comeback, but it did not work. Luke Weaver got the win, Zach Brown got the loss, Archie Bradley got the save. The Cincinnati Reds played the Colorado Rockies, and the Rockies won this game. Final score was 7-4. The Reds came out with a 4-run top of the first inning. They had the lead up until the 5th, when the Rockies scored 6 in the bottom of the 5th and ultimately ended up winning. Carlos Estevez got the win. De Leon, he got the loss, and Wade Davis now has 7 saves on the season. The Los Angeles Dodgers have won Game 2 of this series. The final score of this game, 9-2. David Price got the win, and Zach Davies got the loss. And the Chicago White Sox beat the San Francisco Giants in this interleague game. Final score 3-0. The Giants were blanked in this one. Gio Gonzalez got the win. Derek Rodriguez got the loss. And Evan Marshall picked up a save. He got put in the 9th inning, and he earned himself his first save of the season. Let's have a look at standings now. Starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees have lost 2 straight to the Red Sox. They're 24-15, still in first place. The Baltimore Orioles beat the Angels today, and they move a game up now on the Yankees. They're 3 games back of the division with a 21-18 record. The Rays won today. They're 21-20, 4 games back of the division. The Toronto Blue Jays are 18-21. They're 6 games back of the division. And the Boston Red Sox are catching up now. The Red Sox have won 4 straight. They beat the Yankees twice to begin the weekend series they're both in. And the Red Sox are now 18-23, 1 game back of the Blue Jays, 7 games back of the division. In the American League Central, the Chicago White Sox have won 4 straight now. They're 26-13. They still lead this division. The Twins are also riding a hot streak. They're on a 5-game winning streak, and they have a 24-15 record. They're 2 games back of the division. The Cleveland Indians have won 2 straight. They're 24-18, 3.5 games back of the division. And then the outliers of this division, the Tigers are 14-25. They're 12 games back of the division. And the Royals still stuck at 10 wins. They are 16 games back of the division. In the American League West, the Oakland Athletics are 24-17. They still lead this division. They're on a 3-game winning streak. The Astros aren't blinking either. They're on a hot streak of their own. A 4-game winning streak the Astros are on. They're still a half game back of the Athletics with a 23-17 record. The Los Angeles Angels lost today. They're 5.5 games back of the division. The Rangers are 17-22. They're 6 games back of the division. And the Seattle Mariners have lost 4 straight. They're 17-25, 7.5 games back of the division. Moving on to the National League. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals are 24-14. They still lead the NL East. The Phillies have passed the Marlins now in the standings. The Phillies are 21-18. They're 3.5 games back of the division, and they're on a 3-game winning streak. The Marlins are on a 2-game losing streak. They're 21-19, 4 games back of the division. The Atlanta Braves have won 2 straight. They're 20-21, 5.5 games back of the division. And the New York Mets won today, though they're still 16-23, 8.5 games back of the division, still in last place. In the NL Central, the Milwaukee Brewers have been caught by the St. Louis Cardinals, though these 2 lost today. The Brewers are now on a 3-game losing streak. They're 21-19, as are the Cardinals. The Cubs are 19-21. They're 2 games back of the division. The Reds are 17-22, 3.5 games back of the division. And the Pirates are on a 4-game losing streak. They're 14-24. They're 6 games back of the division. All these teams right now are on some kind of losing streak. And in the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers have beaten the Padres twice now. The Dodgers are on a 5-game winning streak. They're 26-12, and they're the leaders in this division. The Padres falling behind. The Padres on a 5-game losing streak. They're 23-16, 3.5 games back of the division. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 20-19. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They've won 7 of their last 10, and they're 6.5 games back of the division. The San Francisco Giants are 17-22. They're on an 8-game losing streak. They've lost 9 of their last 10, and they're 9.5 games back of the division. And the Colorado Rockies beat the Reds today, but they're 14-24, 12 games back of the division, still in last place. And taking a look at league leaders now, we'll start with batting average leaders in the American League. Chris Davis tops all American League hitters with a .382 batting average. Miguel Cabrera behind him with a .377, and Carlos Santana, the third best, with a .371 batting average. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. falls below .350 now. He's at .349. He's still the top hitter in the National League. David Dahl with a .342 batting average, good for second best, and Nicholas Castellanos has a .341 batting average, that's good for third best in the National League. Hits leaders in the American League. Jose Abreu has 62 hits. He leads all American League players. Chris Davis right behind him with 60, and DJ LeMahieu, Miguel Andujar, and Miguel Cabrera all tied for third best with 57. In the National League, Jonathan Villar at the top of this category with 56. Ronald Acuna is second best with 51, and Paul Goldschmidt rounds out the top 3. He has 50 hits. And bat leaders in the American League, Jose Abreu tops this category with 170 at-bats. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 165, good for best among National League players. Doubles leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar still at the top with 16. There's a 3-way tie for second best. Anthony Rendon, Marcus Semien, and Jose Iglesias all have 15. In the National League, Jonathan Villar, 18 doubles. That leads National League players. Trey Turner has 16, good for second best, and Christian Yelich with 14. That's good for third best. Triples leaders in the American League. Jose Altuve has 4 triples. That still leads all American League players. Whit Merrifield and Oscar Mercado still tied for second best. They each have 3. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 5 triples. That still tops National League players. And there's still a long tie for second best. Chris Bryant, Hunter Pence, Trey Turner, Andrew McCutchen, and Asdrubal Cabrera all have 3. Home run leaders in the American League. Chris Davis has 18 home runs. That still leads all American League players. Matt Olson, his teammate, 3 behind him with 15. That's good for second best. And he's tied with Josh Donaldson, who homered today against the Royals. Donaldson hit his 15th of the season, and that ties him for second best. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. tops this category with 15. Paul Goldschmidt and Max Muncy behind him with 13. They're tied for second best. RBI leaders in the American League. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. tacks on another one. He still leads this category with 42 RBIs. Austin Meadows and Chris Davis on the brink of 40. They're each tied for second best with 39. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt still leading the RBI totals in the National League by a long shot. He has 37. Max Muncy, Christian Yelich, and Bryce Harper, the next closest to Goldschmidt, they each have 29. Runs scored among American League players. Rafael Devers, Yohan Moncada, and Jose Abreu all tied for the league best with 33. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 35. That leads all of baseball. Trey Turner has 31, and Paul Goldschmidt, third best in the National League with 30 runs scored. Stolen base leaders in the American League. Adalberto Mondesi has some company now. Mike Trout has tied him for the league best with 9 stolen bases. D. Gordon and Shin-Soo Choo tied for third best with 8. In the National League, Starling Marte still tops this category with 15. Trey Turner and Tim LeCastro tied for second best with 10. Walk leaders in the American League. Alex Bregman tops this category with 26. Shin-Soo Choo and Mike Trout tied for second best with 24. In the National League, Rhys Hoskins still topping this category with 32. Brandon Belt is in second best with 26. And then you have Freddie Freeman, Eric Hosmer, and Tony Walters tied for third best with 25. On-base percentage leaders in the American League. Chris Davis with a 446. Alex Bregman, 443. Miguel Cabrera, 440. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr., 439. Rhys Hoskins, 428. And Christian Yelich, 420. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League. Chris Davis, 790. Mike Trout below a 700. He's at a 684, second best. And Austin Meadows is 680. That's good for third best in the American League. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr., 753. That still leads all National League players. Christian Yelich has a 717. That's second best. And Corey Seager with a 669. He's close to Paul Goldschmidt for third best. Goldschmidt also has a 669, and these two close, but Seager, with some of those other insignificant figures, leads Goldschmidt. OPS leaders in the American League. Chris Davis, 1.236. Mike Trout has the second best, and Josh Donaldson, third best. In the National League, on-base percentage plus slugging percentage leaders. Ronald Acuna Jr. still at the top. He has a 1.192. Christian Yelich, second best, and Paul Goldschmidt, third best. Moving on to pitchers now. Win leaders in the American League. Jalen Beeks still the leader. He has 6 wins, and there's a long tie there for second best. All those pitchers you see have 5. In the National League, Walker Buehler now tops this category. He has 6, and there's a long tie for second best. All those pitchers you see there have 5 wins. Losses leaders, or least amount of losses. This right now tracks which pitchers are still undefeated in each league, and you have a 5-way tie of undefeated pitchers who tie for the league best. Dylan Bundy, Chris Bassett, Asher Wojciechowski, Reynaldo Lopez, and Kenta Maeda. In the National League, there are 3 pitchers left who are undefeated. Caleb Smith, Trevor Bauer, and Walker Buehler. Saves leaders in the American League. Brad Hand, 18 saves. That leads all of baseball. Liam Hendricks, second best, 3 behind Hand with 15. And then you have Roberto Ozuna and Brandon Workman tied for third best with 13. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos has 15 saves. That's good for the league best. And Josh Hader and Sean Doolittle tied for second best with 14 saves. ERA leaders in the American League. Zach Plesac, 2.04 ERA. That's good for the league best. Brad Peacock, 2.11 ERA, second best, and Carlos Carrasco rounds out the top three with a 2.51 ERA. In the National League, there are 4 pitchers with an earned run average under 2. Walker Buehler, the leader of all of them, with a 1.32. Mike Soroka, 1.78, good for second best. Caleb Smith with a 1.87. He's good for third best. And Trevor Bauer, close to third, but in fourth right now with a 1.88 ERA. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers. Frankie Montas, Gio Gonzalez, and John Means all tied for the league best. They've only given up 2 home runs. And Garrett Richards still leads all of baseball with just 1 home run allowed so far this season. Shutouts among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole, Masahiro Tanaka still top this category. They each still have 2 shutouts. In the National League, Zach Wheeler and Walker Buehler still tied for the league best with 2 shutouts. Strikeout leaders in the American League, Carlos Carrasco and Garrett Cole tied with 66 and tied for the league best. Lucas Giolito, third best in the American League with 64. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has 72. That's good for the league best. Chris Archer is second best with 65 strikeouts. And Steven Strasburg and Yu Darvish tied for third best with 63. Complete games thrown by American League pitchers. Garrett Cole, Masahiro Tanaka still tied for the league best. They each have thrown 2 complete games this season. In the National League, Zach Wheeler still has the league best, 3 complete games. Walker Buehler, second best with 2. Innings pitched among American League pitchers, Shane Bieber, the only American League pitcher with over 60. He has 60 1/3 innings recorded this season. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has 56 2/3 innings. He's trailed closely by Mike Soroka, who has 55 2/3 innings pitched. Walks allowed among American League pitchers, Carlos Carrasco and Ivan Nova tied for the league best with 7. In the National League, Madison Bumgarner still leads this category. He has 7. And the only other National League pitcher with a single-digit walk amount is Alex Wood. He has 8. Whip leaders in the American League, Zach Plesac, .92. The only American League pitcher under 1. In the National League, 4 pitchers under 1 and 4 pitchers close, bordering 1. But Walker Buehler leads this category with a .95 whip. Mike Soroka, Clayton Kershaw, and Pablo Lopez are 2, 3, 4, and they are close to a .99 whip. Pitching war among American League pitchers, Carlos Carrasco and Shane Bieber topping this category with a 1.5 WAR. In the National League, Chris Archer, 1.7 WAR. That leads all National League pitchers. Yu Darvish and Walker Buehler closely behind him with a 1.5. Batting war leaders in the American League, it's still a race between Chris Davis and Mike Trout. They're at a 2.8, and they're still toward the top of this category. Then you have Alex Bregman and DJ LeMahieu, 3 and 4. They have a 2.7. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr., still the only player in baseball with over a 3 WAR, but he's at a 3.3. Christian Yelich, second best with a 2.8. And Jonathan Villar, third best with a 2.6. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Saturday, May the 9th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.